tonight's meeting of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club. We're your hosts this evening. I'm Tobias. This is Will. Together we have a number of curious and exciting topics to share with you.
As attendees of the Hand-Eye Supply Curiosity Club, you're all now members, provided you adhere to our philosophy.
Ex Curiositas Scientia.
We pledge to learn without prejudice in pursuit of our mutual goal, perpetual noviceship. We admit that it is impossible to know everything about anything, and thus we remain perpetually curious and perpetually novice.
This is our flag and our mascot, Franklin. The lightning bolt represents the receipt of knowledge, the enlightenment of illumination, the resonance of truths understood. It awakens and excites us and makes us hungry for more. Curiosity Club is made merrier by our fellow artisans at Fort George Brewery in Astoria, Oregon. Thank you very much. And now let's give a warm Curiosity Club welcome to Intisar Abioto, photographer, dancer, explorer.
Hey, well, thank you for having me. Hand-Eye Supply, thank you for being here. So this is going to be a short, sweet talk about some questions and some answers that I've been exploring around around Black life in Portland, Black creativity in Oregon, Black art, Black existence, and also just so you know, sometimes I stutter, but sometimes it can take me a second to say something, but it's gonna happen. Yes. So I'm a photographer, I'm a writer, I'm a dancer, and I'm interested in Black existence, Black creativity. And so earlier this year, I put out a little zine called Black Portlands. And strangely enough, actually didn't really tell that many people about it at the time because I was super busy and sometimes when you work on something and it feels important, you kind of want to, I feel like the way you put something out is its own kind of creation. So actually this is the first time I'm kind of really talking about it. But yes, it's a zine. Oh, let me turn this on. Is it still on? Let's see here. So it came out earlier this year through Travel Portland. And see how that's gonna go up. And get to this first page. This is there's an essay in here. So let's bring this open. So really, and let me take this coat off. I might kind of move around a little bit. Wow. Sorry, you guys. I forgot that was in there. It seems like everything's fine. Let me clip this on here. Mistakes and mistakes and mishaps. Hopefully that'll stay. Does it look all right? Okay. All right, maybe I should slide this down so I won't look so weird. Black creativity, Black life in Portland, in Oregon. I think that this city, that this place is that it's known. I'm just gonna flip through while I'm saying this. That it's known for its creativity. For the things that people make here, the kind of the makers and the doers, and here we are in this place that supports like making and doing, and I think that's also a story that we communicate to the world. The things we make and do here. How special it is, how unique. And I came here about 6 years ago. I started this project called the Black Portlanders, where I went out into the streets of Portland to kind of talk to people of African descent here. I would just say hello, like talk to them about their experience. I wish this was a little bigger. Let me see how I can make it a little bigger. Even if talking to them or us about our experiences here, and I put it on a site, like a blog called the Black Portlanders, and as someone who was like new here at the time, it was a tangible way for me to like get to know Black people and to find us and to say hello, because that can be I think a challenging thing for anyone, but like a challenging thing for people of African descent here to find community, to find place, to find the places where we're making things. And so I think, about 2 years ago this time, I started to kind of wonder about, I guess a little like deeper. Like I felt like I saw Black people, I was seeing us, I was able to talk to us. But I wanted to find out like what we were doing. Like where are we in this story of this city, of this making, like, and also as an artist, as a writer and a dancer, and a photographer, and I wanted to find out more. Like you start out with a question, and then I think you get an answer, and then you need more. So, and actually, yes. So this was before this project, which I had already came up like with the name like before, but this project kind of like fell in my lap, being able to do this. But yeah, so I guess let me see, when was this picture taken? December 2014, I started to find Black people who were making things. So Black craftspeople. Let's see here. So So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of take you through these pictures real quick. So I think often when you think of that kind of, when you think of that image of like the Portland maker, the Portland doer, you kind of get some images in your mind. And I think there are other images that you aren't getting in your mind. So like I went out to talk to this artist here, Vincent McGee, and I went out to his studio. Let's see here. Check this out. Yeah. And I just kind of like got him in his process. He makes these leather pouches. He stains them and does this whole process. I don't know his process. But yeah, I just wanted to see him, and I wanted to get into this process. I'm just gonna skip through here. There's like a lot of these. So I just wanted to like get him at work, So that was kind of a part of the start of it, like just getting out there to see what we were doing. And so that felt kind of new and cool. And then I went out. Let me get out of here. So he is actually I'm not like really sure if he's a native. I can't remember. But yeah, like I went out to talk to this guy Okaija, who's who's originally from from Ghana, and he was like a musician and a dancer. So yeah, I just went out to his home, and like he makes these awesome leather bags from scraps, and he doesn't even use he just uses just basic tools, just like really basic tools. Like I think just like a knife and I was like, hold on, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go through these pictures real quick. You don't have to say things all the time.
I want to know his.
I know, don't you? He's really cool, yeah. But just his stance and his style, you know. Let me make sure I'm getting the right images here.
No, they all seem really cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you just go and take pictures with them and get their process and how they created different works?
Yeah, I did. I just asked them.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the thing. Sometimes you're just asking.
How did you find them?
I just either I knew them already, or I just asked around.
That's awesome.
It's all just about questions. But yeah, I mean, this guy's an artist. He's doing his own thing. And yeah, he's just, I mean, I don't think this space or this is a part of the dominant narrative of who's making things in Portland, who's a part of that culture. But he is, you know, he brings his own his own expression, his own improvisation. And yeah, each of these bags is different. I think he gets his leather, I think he was saying from Oregon leather or something. So yeah, I thought that was awesome. And then we have Ebb and Lee, and I actually don't have any of their work in this set. Let's see here. But actually, yeah, so yeah, I kind of started this process about 2 years ago of just asking people, asking about Black people who were making things. Let's see here. Where are we? So by the time this project came around, then I already had some of the content. Let me find. Oh yeah, so along with taking those pictures. Let's see, where is he at? There he is. Yeah, so I did, you know, I interviewed them. Let's see. Yeah, it's just about their process, and things like that. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Yeah. So I started that process. Let me pull this out. I don't think I'll just keep going through real quick so you can take a quick look. So this gentleman, he makes barbecue sauce. Him and his family.
Do they sell it at market?
Yeah, they sell it. I think they sell it in New Seasons.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So yeah. And so also interviewed. I interviewed Kimba Shannon, and she's an awesome choreographer, dancer here. She danced in The Lion King and for Celine Dion. So basically, I was also asking people about their process, their experience at being Black artists here. I think the present questions is the question of space, and who has the space for who has access to space, and I think that's a very present Portland question right now. Who has access to space? Who has access to space to create. And so at the time that I interviewed her, she had a dance studio on Denver, like right inside that little Kenton area. And so since that time, I think a couple of months ago, she isn't in that space anymore because, the landlord, they wanted to renovate or like raise the rent. And so I think that's also a question, and I think if we're thinking about like the Black community here or the Black communities, and I think the histories of displacement, we're thinking about space. Like, where do we dance? Where are we making things? Like, where are our studios? Like, where do we hold and like house our craft? Like, whether that's our bodies dancing or whether that's our physical materials. One of the some other people that I interviewed are the Fowlers. Let's see, and their family has been here. I think they're the third generation. They're third generation Black Portlanders. Let me push this. Where are we? There we go. I think they're this way. Yes. So they're like a brother and a sister. Mr. Bobby is he's a choreographer. He's a dancer. He's a visual artist. And Miss Liz is has a history of dance. She was the only she told me she was that she was like Catherine Dunham's only dancer from the state of Oregon. And so I talked to them, and they were just telling me about. Let me see here. I'll just go in deeper. So this is their mom. This is their grandfather. This is their grandfather over at Union Station, which is just that way. And so let's see here. So they were telling me about growing up in the Williams area. Let's see here. Let me pull this back out. So here it is. So they're saying that their grandfather came in the 20s. They're also from. They also have. I think they're also from from Canada. Let's see here. And so their parents were also artists here in Portland. This is their mom. She was a dancer here. Pull this over. This is their stepdad, Sweet. Here. Sweet baby James. He was like a. Let's see. He was a musician, and he actually died, I think, this year. So they were telling me how all of the that a lot of the musicians will come to to their house, to the back part of their house when they were kids. And see. So they were telling me about like this vibrant like jazz community. I don't know if you've like heard about the jazz community on Williams Avenue in the late 40s and 50s, or in the 50s. Let's see here. All right. Let me pull this back. Yeah, to talking about an artist like Donovan Smith, who's like he's a writer and a journalist. He has a speechwear brand called Ignorant Reflections, and so he let's see, he has like shirts like gentrification is weird, and I survived like the Portland police, different things like that. And so he's a native, and so just having this conversation with him about let's see here, about the history of Portland, and also community and creative space. Actually, I have two. Oh yeah, okay, just gonna kind of make sure of. So yeah, feel free to pass it around. Which is, it's kind of better than actually looking at this sometimes. Yeah, hold on. Actually, I'm gonna pull back from this real quick and just kind of go. Let me pull. Yeah. So I guess like the gist of the thing is, yeah. So what is like Black creativity here, and how are people like making things? And I think coming back to the personal, I think in artist journey is, it's complex, and it's challenging. And what I have like witnessed here, you know what? Hold on just 1 second. I'm gonna reframe this really quickly. Just 1 second. I think as an artist, I think at the heart of the thing, you're trying to figure out how to take something like an idea and impetus, a dream. You're trying to figure out how to take this kind of how to take this kind of like nebulous thing. You're trying to take that idea, and you're trying to figure out how to put it into the world, and how you yourself can experience it, how other people can experience it, and actually taking like Portland out of it. Black people or people of African descent, humans who are of African descent. I think at our heart, like everyone else, and also like ourselves, that we are creators, we're thinkers, we are like problem solvers. We take our impetus, we take our dreams, we take the materials at hand, and we infuse the materials at hand with that impetus and that dream. And in the process, I think you were you are creating things that that have been seen, like, you know, like ritual, and it's like dance movements and craft, and it's like human craft. You're taking all these things and you're creating a legacy. You're creating a tradition. You know, you're creating, whether it's dance or music, you're creating craft. There's this part of it. I think there's also this part where you're creating things that have not been seen. And there's also another part where you're creating things that have not been seen. In what can be deeply challenging circumstances, and in circumstances and environments that either are against your creativity, against your existence, and also and so there's that. But then there's also this thing where your creative impulse, I think because of the history of people of African descent in this, I wouldn't say just Portland, but in this American kind of landscape, where your creativity, its main purpose is for someone else, or it's for someone else's like value, or like kind of like capital extraction, and which is, I guess, what kind of like slavery is, you know. So when, oh wait, here I am. This is right where I need to be. So there's kind of like this moment in this interview here, where I'm talking with this artist, with this rapper about kind of, yeah, like about like the makers, the makers like movement here in Portland. And like we're talking about like the history of Black creative production, I think in America, but also here, where the things you're making, even kind of like when you are kind of like making things, either they're for someone else, or they can get like named something that's not you. So he works with coffee, and he talks about how like coffee comes from Africa, but the coffee culture is like very much like the picture of the coffee culture is a white people, frankly. Like here in Portland, or in Seattle, and he he's worked at like a number of places, I think, kind of like whether it's Stumptown or other things, and so he talks about here. Where are we? He talks about here. I'm just going to read this. I think my exploration of coffee centers around what you're talking about. It centers around being able to interact with the craft economy on a level that's akin to my birthright. Coffee is something that follows us on the diaspora. It's from Africa. It comes from a tradition of Black harvest. People of color curated coffee. The three main growing regions are East Africa, Central America, and Indonesia. Global demand for coffee keeps clean water and educational opportunities and independent capital in these communities. And so he also talks about chocolate. And it's always been that that white chefs would be the chocolatiers, and the people who were in the commerce of chocolate are up. And the people who are in the commerce of chocolate are up front, but the people who are harvesting the actual cacao and the seed that everything revolves around are the slaves, usually children. So, and I'm kind of skipping around. And so there's also this moment where we're like talking about like the roots of creativity and how the root of your like creativity can be kind of denied you. Actually, I'm gonna read myself. We all know that we get a large amount of our creativity, of the root energy of like making things from Black people. And also in that sense, I mean anyone whose like creative energy gets like rerouted and like renamed, whether you're talking about like capitalism, you're talking about anything. Even in a city like Portland, where it seems like there's not a lot of Black people, you still get your root stock from Black people. It doesn't really matter what the medium is. At the point where it's shined up and put to market, we're not there. But you study us, and I mean that. Like how you can go like study indigenous people or whoever it is, you know. But then when it's brought up to the level of either like being sold or being distributed, those people, their creative impulse is their creative impulse is there, but they're not there. And I think we need to be there, and we need to make forget that. Okay, but you study us and you study our craft, and I am disinterested in this kind of craft makers movement that doesn't talk about its roots. And then he goes on to say it almost ends up meaning that our own existence is not even about us. We're an addendum to fuel the passions and the desires and the things that white America cannot say, so that they can find their deeper creative meaning or their craft liberation, which I thought was really appropriate, you know. So yeah. So I don't know. I feel like this talk is kind of all over the place, but I think it's a lot to try to I feel like it's a lot of information to try to condense. Not only because I'm trying to study it and I'm trying to question it and I'm trying to understand it like it's like practically and I guess like philosophically. And I will also say like not just from the outside, this isn't an outside thing, but it's also a deeply personal thing, like trying to understand it from the inside and the outside, like existence, like creative production, creative agency. Where are the Black creators and the Black like makers on like the shelves of places here in this city? Like where are our galleries and stores? Like where are our places? You know, if we're talking about like Williams Avenue, and let me bop over real quick. Let me see what time it is because I know. Okay, 6:46. Let's push this over. Really quickly, this couple, they are Cayenne and like Cleo Davis. They are industrial designers and like mechanical engineers, and they own. Let's see. They are well, as of around this time last year, they were one of four remaining Black-owned, property-owned businesses left on Williams. And that is the street that like Black people were on, you know, in the 40s, in the 50s, just that whole area. And that street has changed so drastically even since last year. But yeah, and so actually I don't really have a statement. I guess I just have like really evolving questions and like a desire to get into the questions and figuring it out from the outside and the inside. And I feel like something like this is ongoing. It's like it's a continuous exploration. I don't have the answers. I have some text and some like primary documents. Yeah, so I would say it's not a zine or even a photograph. It's more of a kind of experiential question. I hope I haven't been too all over the place with this. But if you have any questions, yeah, are there any questions or thoughts? Yeah.
I kind of like what you were saying about how there's no answers and that like it's just kind of like these statements and observations. Because I keep on like trying to figure out just like, at least with myself and like my like 99% white friends, like I try and figure out like where I even like fit in as like a person and like what like my worth is and like how like all of these issues are ever gonna work themselves out. And I keep on like looking for these easy solutions and I never find them. And then it's like kind of like the older I get, the more comfortable I am with like there not being like a solution. Just like keep thinking about it. It's weird.
Yeah.
That's just a thought, but like I think about it a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hear you. Honestly, I was really kind of nervous to do this talk a little bit. One, because sometimes you have so many different things you're doing and you're trying to like pull it all together. Because like I do think there are solutions. I think there are ongoing questions, ongoing answers, ongoing solutions. And part of the challenge of doing this piece of like trying, because it did come out through like Travel Portland, you know, like it's about, you know, getting people to come here. But I wanted to be like both in kind of celebration of Black creativity here and showing people where things are, but also being really honest about the challenges and the history. I talk about it in the front essay, like being like really honest about the challenges of the history, because these people here, you know, they are creators because of what they're creating, but they're also creative. They're also creative because of the environment in which they're continuously creating. And so that was part of my. But yeah, I'm interested in all of it. I'm interested in kind of being vulnerable and sometimes halfway prepared, so that I can like kind of sense what I need to sense, and that tell me something. Yeah. I don't know if that says anything to what you said, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think that like, it's like the creative process, right? Or like, you're writing a paper, you're giving a speech, you're preparing a painting, you're choreographing it, you know, a dance. It's a constant conversation you're having in your head, you know? And so, I think it makes sense to leave some space for that in a discussion. A lot of times in academia, we expect for folks to come into the room like having like a A to Z, you know, picture perfect according to somebody's standards. Presentation, this package that we're expecting to get, and life doesn't come like that. And neither does the creative process. I mean, so many times I sit down to create a painting, and then I find myself drumming and or writing.
That happens to me.
Eating snacks. And
yes.
I'm like moving around my room, and I'm like, damn, but I can't finish the fucking painting.
Yes.
Or like, you know, like whatever it is that that's coming through me needs so many different outlets. Then I have to call my mom and be like, yo, mom, like, what about this? Or I have to call my friend, and I have to have these conversations, and then I go back to the piece, and then I go back to the writing, and then, you know, like, the process of creating and the process of discovering oneself and this life is like, non-linear. It's not a linear process.
Thanks for saying that to me.
Yeah.
I actually needed that. Yeah.
It's so not, you know, like, we live in a society that tells us, like, it's 1 o'clock and then it's 2 o'clock. I mean, and that's helpful for certain reasons, but we have to be able to remember, like, why we create, why time is in existence, and then also, like, what exists beyond that.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, and allow for that to come through.
Yeah.
You know? It's like so many of us express, like, we can't point to one thing, one answer, like.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's true. There's like the bubble of the moment or something, and no thanks. And I think like I sometimes I'm in my practice. Let me see what time it is. So sometimes I'm in my practice, and the thing that and I know this is like also personal. This is like this, but it's also personal. Like, I think sometimes as I like get in my practice and I'm like standardizing my practice through like repetition and like professionalism, you know, professionalism in Portland, and like being an adult, I think I kind of get desensitized to like the virility of the moment, and like kind of wanting to be really perfected when often I'm like not really perfected, and I do things at often the last minute because I'm trying to do everything, and like I'm finding I kind of like need to stay in these like pressure moments so I can be so I can be like shaken out of that thing. And even, can I see one of those really quickly? Oh, thanks. Not be in front of that. I spent a lot of time on this. I know we only have a few more minutes, and I don't know what I've given you or not giving you in this thing. This was really hard. I put this out through Travel Portland, and it was designed by Wyden and Kennedy, and it talked about Portland creativity, and it talked about who isn't in Portland creativity. And it was put out through organizations, or it was this process where I went out to talk to Black people, and they told me like really things without being guarded. And then I was like the intermediary between these like organizations who are I'm not saying that they aren't diverse or don't have diversity, but I'm putting out these thoughts like white-owned colonialistic, monopolistic entities in the creative space. I think it's time for a different vision, and that's talking about Portland. And like, it was really hard to do this because we can, you know, and like even the language, even how I'm having to like change my words in this moment, like, is there a place like Hand-Dye Supply here? And I'm not trying to like point it at you, but is there a place like Hand-Dye Supply that's like owned by someone who's Native American or someone who's Black here in this city or in other cities? Like, is there an organization like Wyden and Kennedy, who I appreciate, but is there an organization like that here that's owned by Native Americans? Like, when you start to talk about these things, you start to talk about access, and you start to talk about creativity and who has access to creative production, who has access, and like how do we get access, and how do we speak about it so people can get access, and then how are you not feel crazy about it and awkward, or feel like you might be targeted, or maybe won't get jobs, or like, you know, or maybe you're talking about Black people too much, or you're talking about all the bad things, and you need to be super positive when you talk to you about these things because, hey, they want to see you smiling, Like, it was really hard to do this. It was deeply hard. And I think as a creative who's kind of like out here in the public or whatever, and like people ask me to do things because I have access, because people come to me to talk about blackness, sometimes I find myself in these really pressured spaces. And I hadn't even talked about this because I felt these words, these people, that I felt like their voices were so important, and I was so busy, and I felt like everyone needed to hear about it, like people across America and like black people across America and the world, and like I felt like people in Memphis and Chicago needed to know about like the black community here in Portland and the black creative community here in Portland. But I was so busy because I'm one person and one artist that I haven't even told anybody because I feel like it needs to be put out so big and I didn't have the time to do it yet. So, I'm gonna do it, but I really just think maybe even if, I want to get it printed and I want to get it printed, I want to get it printed and people have access to it because, I don't know. But, well, no, because I know, because all the stuff that I said. And I just think, like, being able to listen to these voices and being able to listen and create as and create with black creativity is, like, essential. And, there's a lot of things. I don't have to be the one talking because they said all this stuff in here. But, any more questions? I think we have, like, 2 minutes. Well, I stutter. I still stutter. Depending on, like, factors I don't always know about, it's either better or worse. But I stuttered a lot when I was a kid, way worse, like not really able to have real conversation with people or feel like socially okay. So, I did stuff that I could do without having to speak to people. So dancing and writing and photography, and I started shooting when I was 14. So yeah, that's how. Thank you. Oh, thank you. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes. Is there any other questions? It's okay if there's not. Awesome. Thank you. No, that's why I said no. I didn't tell anyone unless they kind of randomly found it on Child Portland.
There's actually a link to the zine in the description for the talk also, so you can see it online.
Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. So thanks everyone for coming. We return on November 15th in what will be the last Curiosity Club of the year with D.E. Giraffe's historical photographer, living historian. Historical photography is the recreation of the past through the lens of a camera, using only historically accurate photographic techniques, processes, and equipment, and utilizing historical venues, living historians, and models. D.E. Giraffe will describe the beginnings of this passion, the process in which he creates historical images, and the reasons for his obsessions. So it should be really great. Thanks everyone for coming, and let's have another round.